Casual here. I see players regularly asking, is this legendary weapon any good? And which weapon mods should they use on it? To answer this, I'm going to let you know what I think are the top 3 weapon combos for Anomaly and Firepower builds. Let's get into it.
3.
The Moaning Winds Radiation Splash Reload Nuke remains a great source of AoE damage. Its one downside is its relatively long global cooldown of 8 seconds. Set this up on either of these 2 legendaries by emptying the mag and switching to your main weapon before the reload animation completes. Then every 8 seconds you can switch to this to trigger both mods for around 1 million of unbuffed damage and over 6 million with the right builds.
2.
Prior to the changes to global cooldowns made in New Horizon, the Moaning Winds Radiation Splash was a staple of all of the top builds. Now though, the Roaring Umbra modded with Kinetic Stomper Moaning Winds is the weapon of choice in all of the Anomaly power speedruns. Fire one bullet to proc Kinetic Stomp and then reload to trigger Moaning Winds. Swap to your main weapon before the reload finishes to avoid the longer reload time. This combo is more precise than the Moaning Winds Radiation Splash Nuke, allowing you to deliver the damage you want when you need it. Before we jump to the top spot, a few honourable mentions. Heir to the Desert modded with Sandstorm and Shadow Comet, Damascus Offering modded with Claymore Torrent and Shadow Comet, and the Juggler modded with Grand Opening and Scrap Grenade are all solid one-shot weapons that can be built into any rotation. They put out around 500,000 of unbuffed damage, which pushes up your DPS nicely while your skills are on cooldown.
1.
Now you might be thinking that this is the same combo as Damascus Offering, but there is one huge difference. When hip firing through null power, each bullet can hit multiple targets, and each of those targets hit can proc Shadow Comet and Claymore Torrent, resulting in a carpet bomb effect. The potential damage output of this combo is huge, and with a short cooldown on both of these, it is by far the strongest and most consistent damage output of any weapon mod combo in the game.
3.
The Devastator is the only class without a round space skill, which means that it needs to stack armor piercing with any firepower build. Fatal Symbiont modded with Dark Sacrifice and Ultimate Damage Link comes with the ideal stats on it for a Devastator, particularly bleed builds, which pretty much all of the top Devastator builds are. If you're wondering how armor piercing works, it essentially reduces the physical damage reduction from armor by the percentage shown. This means it is more effective stat against elites than against non-elites. A Cremator's armor, for example, reduces physical damage reduction by 85%, so a weapon with 100 weapon damage with no armor piercing only does 15 damage. With 30% armor piercing, the physical damage resistance reduces by 25.5%, being 30% of 85%, so the same weapon with 30% armor piercing will do 40.5 damage to a Cremator, a 170% increase on the damage with no armor piercing.
2.
Killing Spree and Dark Sacrifice are the top 2 weapon damage mods for firepower builds, and being able to combine them on one weapon is an overpowered combo. There are 2 weapons where you can combine these mods, Amber Vault and Fatal Symbiont. Both of these come with armor piercing, status power and close range damage, and so are ideal Devastator weapons, but all classes can make good use of them. If you are using Borealis Monarch, then you could use these weapons with Ultimate Freezing Bullets, or even with the weapon Absolute Zero, which comes with crit damage and long range damage, making it a good weapon for Technomancer Blighted Rounds builds. Before we jump to the top firepower weapon combo, a couple of honourable mentions. Fortress used to be the mod of choice for pretty much every build in the game. Then the changes to Fortress came along and now we see many different combos being used. However, Fortress remains a solid mod with its combination of buffs to survivability and damage output, and when coupled with Dark Sacrifice on the Death Shield, you have a very strong pairing. And if you don't have Death Shield, well, an automatic shotgun with Perpetuum Mobile and Dark Sacrifice makes a great alternative, which combines ammo replenishment with damage output. Close range damage, of course, is a must with this weapon.
1.
The best firepower weapon combo in the game is not a legendary one, but rather an epic tactical assault rifle with Dark Sacrifice and Bone Shrapnel. This combo works best for rounds-based builds, which most firepower builds will be, with critical damage, long range and close range damage on it. Armor piercing is not needed as round skills are not affected by armor or resistance, but rather have their own damage reduction, which is very low. This weapon fires a 3-round burst, and if you can hit crits, does incredible damage, burning down elites in seconds. Again, if you're using the Borealis Monarch gear set, you will want to swap Dark Sacrifice for ultimate freezing bullets. Bone Shrapnel is the best secondary mod because it adds excellent AoE damage to firepower builds. Its other advantage is that it only triggers after the killing shot, and this is critical for rounds-based builds so that ammo replenishment mods like Toxic Lead or Vampiric Mag actually proc. Now, finding a god roll tactical AR with the right stats and mods can be a very frustrating process, so you could use Inferno Siege, which comes with crit damage and long range damage. Let me know in the comments if you're using different weapon combos, and if you want to see these top combos in action, check out the videos here. Until next time, casual out.